The flight attendant's eyes narrowed as she blocked the aisle. "You don't belong here," she said coldly, pointing the young girl back toward economy. The passengers grew quiet, some looking away, some whispering. But no one knew the truth. This little girl wasn't just any passenger. Her father owned the entire airline. The moment was sharp and humiliating. A young black girl stood frozen in the aisle, holding her first-class boarding pass tightly in her small hands. The slip of paper trembled under her fingers, but her chin stayed high. The flight attendant's polished smile had already hardened into something colder, something dismissive. Around them, rows of curious faces peeked from behind seats, but no one spoke. Silence can be heavy, sometimes heavier than words. She wasn't just any child. Her name was Amara. 11 years old, sharp-eyed, gentle in spirit. She carried herself with a poise that seemed far beyond her years, though right now her heart pounded in her chest. She had dressed neatly for this flight. A soft blue dress, shoes polished by her own hands, and braids that her grandmother had carefully tied that morning. She wanted to look her best. She wanted to make her father proud. But the attendant's words cut through the air like glass. "You don't belong in this section. Economy is behind you." Passengers shifted uncomfortably, sensing the sting of injustice. Some avoided eye contact, others stared openly. Amara remained silent. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was the strength her father had taught her. Never fight with words when your truth speaks louder than noise. Her father, David Mensa, wasn't just a man of wealth. He was a man of sacrifice. Years ago, he had worked every odd job, loading cargo in airports, cleaning hangars at night, sleeping in his car when he had no home. He had built his empire not through privilege but through grit. The airline was his life's work, born out of sweat and vision. He often told Amara, every seat in the sky should carry respect. But the flight attendant knew none of this. She only saw a young girl whose skin, whose youth, whose presence did not fit her assumption of first class. Rules and uniforms often give people a false sense of power. In that moment, her polished wings and tailored suit felt bigger than a child's voice. Amara said nothing. She simply extended her ticket again, her small hand steady now. The attendant frowned, ready to argue further, when a shadow fell across the aisle. David Mensa himself had stepped forward. He had boarded quietly, unnoticed, wearing a simple jacket instead of the tailored suits the world expected of him. He had watched everything unfold without interrupting. His silence had been deliberate, allowing truth to reveal itself. The passengers straightened, whispers rising. Some recognized his face, others didn't, but they felt the gravity in his presence. He rested his hand gently on Amara's shoulder and finally spoke. His voice was calm, steady, and heavy with meaning. "Respect," he said softly, "is the true price of admission." The attendant's face drained of color. The weight of her mistake settled heavily as David slowly handed her his boarding pass. Printed in bold letters beneath his name was his title, Founder and Chief Executive Officer. A hush swept the cabin. Passengers who had once sat in silence now felt a stirring of conscience. A man in the back lowered his eyes in shame for not speaking up. A woman near the window nodded quietly, as if justice itself had just taken its rightful seat. David guided Amara gently into her place, her rightful place, in first class. And as she settled, she whispered the words he had always told her. Dignity is louder than pride. The flight attendant, shaken and humbled, offered a trembling apology. But the true lesson had already been written in the hearts of everyone watching. The rest of the flight was quiet, but it wasn't the same silence as before. It was a silence filled with reflection, respect, and the unspoken knowledge that one girl's calm grace had exposed the weight of prejudice in a single moment. By the time the plane touched down, the story had already spread across whispers and screens. But for Amara, it wasn't about revenge or headlines. It was about the reminder her father had always given her. We rise by staying rooted in respect. And the world cannot take away what we carry inside. And so, on that flight, Silence spoke louder than shouting ever could. Respect proved more powerful than rank, and dignity rose higher than pride. What do you think? Should silence always be this strong? Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. For more stories of unseen battles, silent strength, and unexpected heroes, make sure you subscribe.